Thank you for tuning in to this workshop, Conducting Engaging In-Person and Remote Interviews at CFRC, sponsored by the Community Radio Fund of Canada and CFRC 101.9 FM as part of the Radiometres project of 2024. In this video, we will begin by exploring how to build connections and prepare for interviews, then dive into strategies for running the interview itself, including leveraging our studios and tools for pre-recorded or live broadcasts. Finally, we'll cover techniques for keeping your guest and audience engaged. By the end, you'll feel more confident tackling any interview scenario. Before we dive into how, let's talk about why interviews matter. Interviews allow us to share unique perspectives, amplify voices, and tell stories that connect with our audience in meaningful ways. They're a cornerstone of what we do at CFRC. In a world with so much media consumption, there is value to a local or personal story or conversation. Not only do interviews build CFRC as a brand, but it helps CFRC fulfill its mandate and mission. Please review the mandate and mission at cfrc.ca/about, but an especially pertinent aspect of it is the following. CFRC's mission is to empower and celebrate the diversity of Kingston and Queens through innovative, non-commercial, community-oriented radio programming and broadcast learning opportunities. We can do this by giving voices in our community an opportunity to speak, and yes, that includes your voice too. A good interview isn't just about asking questions. It's about creating a memorable, authentic exchange that resonates with your listeners. So whether you're interviewing a local musician, a community leader, or someone sharing a deeply personal story, the skills you'll learn today will help you make a lasting impact on your interviewee and your listeners. Interviews start long before you hit the record button. They begin with building a connection. First, research your guest. Understand their background work and perspective so you can tailor your questions. Next, craft a professional and polite outreach message that clearly communicates your interest in interviewing them. When you connect, establish rapport by being friendly and genuine. Set clear expectations about the interview format, length, and topic so they feel prepared and comfortable. A good first impression sets the tone for a successful interview. Preparation is key to a smooth and successful interview. Start by researching the topic thoroughly so you can ask well-informed questions. Write a list of open-ended questions that encourage thoughtful answers, but also be ready to adapt based on your guest's response. Test your equipment in advance to avoid technical hiccups. Make sure everything is functioning properly from the microphone to the recording software. This ensures you can focus on the conversation and not the tech. Now, let's talk about what happens during the interview itself. Start with easy, open-ended questions to make your guest feel at ease. As they open up, listen actively. This means making eye contact, nodding, and responding naturally to their answers. Let the conversation flow, but stay in control. If your guest strays off topic, gently steer them back. Remember, your role is to guide the discussion while giving them room to shine. Do not fall for the urge to affirm your interview guest by saying yes or while they are talking because it can be interruptive to the audio. Let them finish their whole idea before you begin to speak again. At CFRC, we're lucky to have professional spaces and tools for conducting interviews. If you're pre-recording, focus on sound quality by positioning microphones correctly and setting audios carefully. For live-to-air interviews, preparation is even more critical. Test everything in advance to avoid on-air issues. Studio etiquette is crucial. Respect the space, clean up after yourself, and handle the equipment with care. And if you run into trouble, troubleshoot calmly or seek assistance from station staff. Sometimes you'll need to conduct interviews remotely, over the phone or online. For phone interviews, we have specialized equipment called telephone hybrid boxes. Their purpose is to deliver as high quality as possible audio to our broadcast and recording equipment. Let your interviewee know to call the phone number outlined in the volunteer manual and keep an eye on the phone for a flashing light. When that light flashes, press the button labeled Call and turn on your fader. You are now connected to your interviewee over the phone and can record with them in either Control Room 1 or be on air with them in Control Room 2. To make this process as smooth as possible, set a specific time for the person to call. This time should be nailed down to the minute to ensure that you are available to answer their call. In CR2, there is only a visual cue of a call, so you must keep your eye on the rack if you are expecting a call. For online interviews, platforms like Zoom or Riverside are great, but ensure your guest has a stable internet connection, a quiet environment, and most importantly, a set of headphones. Riverside.fm has way better audio quality than Zoom, but of course it is a matter of preference for the person you are interviewing. In CR2, if you open an internet phone call program or web page, the interviewee on the other end will hear all of the audio from the studio minus the computer audio itself. This is called a mix minus. CR1 does not have a mix minus, so the computer will also hear itself in recordings, making Zoom a better option as it has an echo cancellation feature. Always test the setup before the interview and communicate troubleshooting steps to your guest if issues arise. Let them know that if they make mistakes, to continue on with their thought, to be slow and articulate in their communication, and to speak to the audience directly. A little preparation goes a long way in avoiding technical disruptions. Keeping your guest engaged is just as important as keeping your audience engaged. Show that you're listening by using conversational cues like nodding or saying, "That's interesting, can you tell me more?" Be respectful of their time and expertise, and avoid interruptions. Even affirming sounds can be disruptive. Keep your cues visual or let the interviewee know beforehand that you'll be giving them lots of time to speak. If they go off on a tangent, gently guide them back to the topic, and always end the interview by thanking them for their time and insights. Engaging your audience is about making them feel like part of the conversation. Summarize key points during the interview to help listeners follow along. If you're live, invite audience interaction through questions or comments. Your tone and pacing also play a big role. Speak clearly and with energy to keep the audience's attention. And if context is needed for something your guest says, provide it succinctly so that everyone stays on the same page. Even with preparation, challenges can arise during interviews. What if your guest cancels last minute? Have a backup plan like a pre-recorded segment or another guest on standby. If technical issues come up, stay calm and troubleshoot methodically. And if your guest gives a short or unengaging answer, reframe your questions to draw them out. For example, "Can you elaborate on that?" or "What inspired that decision?" Flexibility and composure are your best tools in these situations. To keep improving your skills, we recommend checking out our equipment guides and other workshops, all available on our volunteer resources page. You can also shadow experienced hosts at CFRC to see these techniques in action. Cindy of Thursday's Indie Wake Up Call or Chris of Today in YGK would be good options, and don't hesitate to reach out to staff for guidance or to review your interviews. This is just the beginning of your journey as an interviewer. Keep learning and practicing. Thank you for watching.